Smell that? It's time for a swing dance reaction video.
No, no, no.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Street Smart Swing. My name is Jamin Jackson, also known as the Galactic Swing Dance Umpire. And I am super elated to be scrutinizing another vintage clip. This time it is about the Harvest Moon Ball. This is one of the most important competitions in the United States ever that really put Lindy Hop on the map so that thousands, if not millions of people could be exposed to it. Let me give you my thoughts right after this clip.
Hey.
A pretty girl, a boy in uniform, on a Viennese waltz. Beautiful. What charm, what grace, what the... Quick, Henry, the flit. And we used to get slapped for just squeezing them. But when the servicemen cut a rug, the gangway. You gotta have spring in your toes, rhythm in your heart, on ants in your... She's good. This might give my wife ideas. He wins by a head.
That was a pretty interesting clip. Wow, I didn't expect to hear that narrator on top like that. It was really funny. It kind of helps me see kind of the mentality of the people back then. I tell you, whenever I watch black and white videos like this, it is really hard for me to not think of this as just as an imaginary world with the perfect scenarios and all of these fictional characters that I can look at and imitate their moves just to make myself feel proud and hipster. It's really, really difficult to not do that because we live in the 21st century, HD color. We can get instant message anytime we want from anybody across the world, and life just seems so much dramatically different than that. And in a way I understand, and in a way I think it isn't as different as those times. So when I look at a clip like this, for me, I have to put myself into the mentality of the people back then. Think about 1940. There was World War going on. People lived in a very segregated way. Some people had to live on certain sides of the towns. They had to drink out of certain water fountains. They had to sit in certain places. They had to enter through certain parts of the building. Other people had the ability to do kind of whatever they wanted based on the who was in control. And I look at that as something obviously that is not good. It isn't based on my own preference or my own sense of morality. I'm a Christian, so I'm going to tell you right now, people are sacred because God says, not because legislation just passed something that says now there's no more racism. Well, that doesn't make sense. Because think about this, at that time, people were segregated. There were different laws in place, there were different things in place, and then all of a sudden it takes a new politician to say one thing, and then all of a sudden it's no longer bad. It's not necessarily true. It's not necessarily true. And so for me, the standard for what I see this footage, I have to think of people as being flawed, but also valuable and sacred. Not because of anything that they're doing, but because of their very nature. So this particular event is so important to me because I get to see humanity at its worst. It reminds me of that, but it also reminds me of the perseverance that takes place in the human heart to overcome obstacles. When you see all of these different genres of people dancing, I see a lot of upright ballroom. I'm sure there were some Latin forms of dancing, South American, you had European. But when it came down to getting down to the Americans, they happened to be presenting something that was American in its very nature. The sense of taking what you have and working with it. The sense of working with different people. The sense of working with structure, order, and chaos together at the same time. That's swing for me. That's jazz for me. And to see that the package that it was presented to the world was an unpopular package. A package that had brown skin. A package that took pride in male and female dancing together. A package that said, hey, this is something that our people created. We value this thing and we want to take it so seriously and share it with the world. Put ourselves out there in a way that might actually be more ridiculed. So when I see the Harvest Moon Ball, I think of my ancestors as an American. I think about the people who were oppressed at that time, when they had a very respectable art form that was validated more in the eyes of the public because of this competition. Deep inside, I think Lindy Hop had the power to inspire people, no matter what color they were, to want to show the joy that they had inside. That's why the Harvest Moon Ball, along with the Savoy Ballroom, is extremely important. So if you haven't seen my video on the Savoy Ballroom, I encourage you to check out that link in the description below. But I think about the Harvest Moon Ball as being one of the critical points in helping Lindy Hop not just be something that's happening on the black side of town, into something that is an art form that's respectable. And I have to keep reminding myself as an artist, looking at this is not mine. Just because I have brown skin doesn't mean I have ownership of this dance. I am just like you. We're in the 21st century. So when I go back and I look at these clips, I have to look at it from the lens as if I am an outsider and I have been debutized to be a part of this art form and share it with future generations in a responsible way. Can you imagine if I came into the Savoy Ballroom, nothing but black people on the stage performing, and I was a white person, whatever that is, and I walk into that place and they accept me because I am interested in them. But what if my attitude was, Duke Ellington, you need to change the lyrics in your song because it's offensive to me and my friends. Whitey, you need to change the name of your competition because me and my friends find it devastatingly offensive. You people are so backwards and uncivilized. Wouldn't it be weird if I went into the Savoy Ballroom with this complexion and I found Shorty George, Maddie Purnell, those who are accredited for creating the swing out, and I got in their face and I said, you know what? I believe your dance is bad. And I believe I am good and forward thinking and open-minded. And if you don't change your dance to accommodate me and my friends, I'm no longer going to be open-minded and I'm going to label you a whatever. Wouldn't it be more logically consistent of me to stop participating in a dance and musical genre that I thought was sexist and racist against men and women? If I had a vestige of personal integrity and honesty, I certainly would stop. I definitely wouldn't appropriate whatever I wanted with these people's art form and then subsequently label them bad if they won't acquiesce. That would be the very essence of condescension and appropriation. The unfortunate reality is there were artists and regular people who had this condescending attitude toward the people who made swing. And the caveat for us dancers today is we better make sure we're not pointing the finger at others while simultaneously doing the exact same thing people in the past did. And that's only if we don't want to be hypocritical in appropriating swing for whatever agenda we want. So you can see for me, when I look at this clip and I think about the people who made this dance, the very first swing out, by Shorty George and Maddie Purnell. And I think about them and what they were doing in a world where people were ostracized based on the color of their skin. I say I better take this more seriously and I better respect it and not pretend that I own it. So what do you think about the Harvest Moon Ball? Do you think it's not really important? Shouldn't be remembered? Or do you see it as something as a turning point in America and subsequently the entire world? I'd love to hear what you think in the comment section. If you guys haven't started swing dancing yet, I encourage you. Recognize what you're a part of. It's a fantastic art form created by people who were probably ostracized for superficial reasons that had nothing to do with the beauty that came out of them. But we get to be partakers of this amazing art form that none of us created. So if you are struggling or have never taken a swing dance lesson before, I don't want you to miss out. So check out some of the courses that I have for you below. I've got about 30 that will show you some of the traditional moves that they created. And I've also included some of my original swing dance moves that you can lead and follow on the social dance floor. With that said, let me know what you guys thought about this clip. The original posting was from Vintage Swing Dance, so check out their channel. I know they've got some great content that they post. I'm not sure where they actually get the content. I'm not sure about the accuracy of a lot of the thumbnails or any of the information. I have to cross-check it. But I will tell you, it's some impressive stuff, and I subscribe to them, and I encourage you to do the same. So with that being said, if I don't see you in one of my classes online, hopefully I'll get a chance to see some of your comments in this reaction. Take care.